All right, we are live on Proline TV for our Thursday horse racing preview. We've got the Jerkens Stakes coming up later tonight. John Hardoon, of course, will be with me. And we also have two additional races that we are going to be handicapping. They will be races, actually, we're going to be handicapping races 11, 12, and 13 at Saratoga on Saturday's card. Of course, we're doing that at 7 o'clock Eastern tonight, right here on Proline TV. That's the Grade 1 Ballerina. It's actually, let's see, it's the Ballerina. It's the Resorts World Casino Ballerina Stakes, followed by the Forgo Stakes, also Grade 1, and of course the Grade 1 Jerkens Stakes. So 11, 12, and 13 coming up later tonight on Proline TV. Okay, so before we can get there, and if you want to know how to watch those shows, just hit the join button on the bottom of this video. You see it says join, just click that, box pops open, lets you know exactly what you can sign up for. You can sign up for two different tiers. One gives you 2 race video shows every 4 weeks, and then the $4 tier gives you all of our race video shows every week whenever we produce them. All right, so we're going to do on this show, let me pop it up here, race number 10. And this is going to be the H. Allen Jerkens Memorial Stakes. So this is 8 race field, as you can see here. So this is what we'll talk about today. And boy, you the best trainers in the world in this one. Look at that. Cox, Baffert, Pletcher, Brown, Dallas Stewart. But still, that is some trainer world-class run. And even the jockeys, Saez, Rosario, Ortiz Jr., Pratt, Hernandez, Velasquez, Santana. So anyway, there you go. That's what's coming up. So let's go ahead and pop up my notes. And there they are. Voila. Let me see if I can get them a little bit bigger. Okay, I think that's as much as I can go. All right. So this is, again, I know it's also interesting is you got 7 furlongs, then race 11 is 7 furlongs, and race 12 is 7 furlongs. So we have 3, and they're all dirt races, right? So I don't think we have to, well, you know, whenever they're all dirt races, which each one of them are, we do have to worry about rain. So, I mean, it's actually better because if it's raining on turf, then it can come off the turf. So, yeah, I don't know what the forecast is. I haven't checked it out. We'll go over it later. Hopefully it won't be a big deal. I know this weather pattern, the system's coming in, this hurricane. So I do not know if that's going to affect New York. So fingers crossed, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. All right. You know what? Let me talk about it now because we're not going to be doing this race later. Let me see if I can pop up the weather forecast here on the screen. All right. So here we go. Let me move this over. All right, let's see. I should have this in the favorites. What was this crap? Okay. So, yeah, we're not concerning with where we are. There it is. Okay. So let's take a look at the weekend and see what we got. Partly cloudy. Okay, and there are only thunderstorms late on Sunday. Okay, so there you go. Looks like we're going to be okay as far as the weather is concerned at Saratoga on Saturday. All right, so there you can see the morning line favorite is the one Patch Adams at 3-1. And a couple of things I noticed here was the fact that, look at that, you have the first 2 horses actually have never been not the favorites at post time. I find that a little interesting. So Patch Adams has never not been the favorite, but his line, as you can see here, is really nice this season. So it's a nice line. Matter of fact, to have a 7 as a 2-year-old is fantastic. He's got 2 wins straight coming in, including a grade 1. So that's pretty big. No pairs here because he ran the 7 last November. And he's got a win over Saratoga, which was his last race at 7 furlongs just a couple of months ago. So, I'm not worrying about any bounces or short rest or anything like that. He's 2 for 2 at 7 furlongs. There is nothing to not like about Patch Adams except the fact that he's 3 to 1. All right. Next up, we have Midland Money. And Midland Money in just 2 races. Check that out. So 17 last June. Then he doesn't race for 14 months. Comes back just a few weeks ago and runs a 7, which is fantastic. Now, if there's ever been a situation where a horse is supposed to bounce, it's right here. 14 months off, runs a 7, a 10-point new top, and then wants to come back in just 3 weeks. Wow. So, yeah. Baffert, well, you know why Baffert's probably doing it? Because there's 2 other horses in the race. What does he care? But there's no serious. Come on. If Midland Money were to win this race, based on that 7 last time out, with 14 months off and 3 weeks in between the 7, it would be pretty out there, average-wise. So playing the percentages, not with Midland Money or not. Next up. Come on. Got to do this delicately so I don't screw it up. Okay. There we go. Barnes. And then Barnes started the year in such fine fashion with those back-to-back 8s, even just the first 8, because that gave him the 2 wins. It was a grade 2 win, and everybody was looking at Barnes as an early favorite to the Derby. And then journalism comes along, and little did Barnes know that journalism was going to have his number. And he certainly did, even though Barnes ran another 8. And so you were like, okay, well, maybe that's okay. He lost the race, journalism. Okay, fine. You see why I wrote that? I wrote that because that's what I really did have to wonder is I'm sure that's not the case, but I do wonder whether or not Barnes had his confidence taken away from him because journalism he had to face again. He gets into the stall, gets into the gates again with the same horse that just beat him after he's this invincible horse for a couple of races. I'm the stud. He's leading in the 3rd race and everything's fine. And all of a sudden, wait a second, who's this? And then he beats him. And it's like, oh no. It's sort of like, it's like once you beat Tyson, all the luster's off. And that's what you got to wonder because he comes right back in the next race in the Santa Anita Derby and has nothing. So, yeah, I don't know, but 9-2, I'm totally uninterested. He has had 4.5 months to think about it. Now, I'm sure Baffert is trying to figure out a way to get his confidence going again. But I don't know. I mean, not at 9. For me, not at 9-2. Give me a better number than that, but not at 9-2. But that's just me. You see the numbers there. It is what it is. Okay. What are we doing now? Next one. All right. Nope, the other way. Okay. Let's start with Chancer McPatrick. All right. So Chancer McPatrick's got Heredity's Jr. and Chad Brown. And this was a horse that early on, same thing, because he did race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. Did not go all too well. And things were looking really excellent for this horse heading into that race. He had the 3-race win streak, wins right away in his maiden, goes off as the favorite at the Grade 1 Champagne after winning the Grade 1 Hopeful. So he's on a roll. He's one of the top contenders in the Juvenile and has nothing. And this is after back-to-back 9s, nothing. So comes back to begin the year in March, takes a nice little kind of mini layoff. And yeah, well, in a grade 3 race, he went off as one of the top contenders again. And well, he was second. So, all right, it's his second. He wasn't the favorite. Let's go to the next one. Well, the next one was the big tune-up for the Derby, the Bluegrass. And he went off as the favorite and he had nothing. Now, look, he wasn't a disaster. His numbers, as you can see there, were okay, but these are big time horses we're now talking about here that he's got to contend with, and 10s or 11s, that's not all that great. So he comes back once again in a grade 1 race and once again does nothing. So this has been going on now for quite a long time. So finally, he takes a weaker race, gets out of the grade after running grade 1, grade 1, grade 1, grade 1, grade 1, and grade 3. It's his first non-graded stakes race, and he wins it. He wasn't even the favorite, and he wins it. And he runs his best number, tied for his best number. He runs a 9 again. So, look, the reason I put Sleeper up there is because he did run the 9. It's the second time now he's run the 9, or the third time. But now he's been through the bad part. So the only thing I noticed was Irad Ortiz Jr. was on board. The only thing. But Pratt is every bit as good. Sometimes, though, as we all know, every jockey, every trainer, you never know. You get on a horse, sometimes you could be a better trainer or a better jockey, and the lesser jockey or the lesser trainer can get more out of the horse. You just never know. So you don't know. Was it a coincidence? Would he have won with him on board that day? Maybe so. But he did run a 9. It was his best number since last October. And it is 5-1. Now it's okay because at this point, he is the third choice, but overall, he's actually the fourth choice. So out of 8 horses, I'm thinking, okay, well, is it possible? He's still 3 years old. Is it possible that Chancellor McPatrick, who's won 3 times now at Saratoga, with his only non-win at Saratoga being, actually, that was the one where he's off the track. I mean, where he's, the conditions were off track. It was, not all that great. That was the Woody Stevens. So 3 for 3 at Saratoga on a fast track. And maybe Irad Ortiz Jr. was just what he needed. I don't know. But I'm thinking not a bad sleeper idea because there's going to be other horses in this race that'll take money. And I could see people maybe staying away from Chancellor McPatrick. If they do, I think it's a sleeper. If they don't, if for some reason everybody's putting money on him, then I'm not interested. All right. Verifier. And Verifier, a 4-1 shot. Excellent combo once again with Cox and Pratt. Rolling sevens. Now, that's not bad, but it's not what we want. The good news is, I mean, he's only reigned 3 times and he's got all 7s. I mean, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, he hasn't raced anybody. He hasn't raced in any graded stakes race, and now he's in a grade 1. Okay, so he's never raced at Saratoga. Okay, so there's 4-1. Really. So that's the thing. So that's why I would just rather take Chancellor McPatrick at 5-1 and Verifier at 4. But I could see why you would want Verifier because he's got the 7s. And the 7s, he's never had a bad race. I just don't know if you're getting value in a situation where the horse has never been in a graded stakes race before. Now it's grade 1. That's all. But hey, you've got the information. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there that think completely different than me. So you've got it. Best of luck if you take them. And I hope it was good information for you, even though we might be thinking differently. All right, now comes the 6. And the 7. We'll put them both in there. Okay. So we have Smoke and Wicked. And Smoke and Wicked is the 6-1 shot. Now, check this out. See, I said this, and I had these little lines drawn there because it's the 4 worst races of his career, all landed in graded stakes races. Sorry, but I think that's not a coincidence. So he's run a 14, a 20, a 25, and a 19. And now, he finally, in his last race, in a graded stakes race, he broke through. He ran a 6. Problem is, it's kind of on that line of being, and I don't even think it's on the line. It's really only 4 weeks. So considering he hasn't run that 6 in a while, he ran the 6 in December. There is something to worry about, but as far as the bounce, but at least he has run the 6 before. I don't know. He runs the 6 last time. He had run a 7 before and just bounced to a 9. But when he ran the 6, he had a bad one the next one and hasn't really recovered until the 6 again. Now, it was at Saratoga, so that's an advantage. It was his best win, obviously, a grade 2 win. So there are some things to like, but I don't know. Look, at 6-1, I think that's the thing that is the good part. I definitely don't want the horse as a lower priced horse. So, I mean, if you're looking for a decent price, you've got a horse that's run 2 6s. Last year, he ran a 7-9-6 together. So he has been able to put a couple of big races together. Matter of fact, those were all wins. 2 of them were on Lasix, but 1 wasn't. So, yeah, so I think there are some warning signs, no question. And look, he has raced an awful lot. I mean, I thought Chance and McPatrick raced a lot for a 3-year-old, but Smokin' Wicked, 13 starts for a 3-year-old. Wow. All right. Well, anyway, at least he's battle tested, right? But here's the thing. Do you think he's going to now go to a 5 and in a grade 1 and win that race after what we've seen here overall? I mean, this is the first time he's broken through in a graded stakes race. Now, look, it could be that, hey, he's 3 years old. He's finally getting it. It's just one of those things. He's young enough where he can, who knows when the horses are going to get it. And that's possible. That's why I think he's an option as a potential outside the top favorites play. If you want to try to make some money in an exacta, trifecta, whatever have you. But again, you've got the information. Do with what you will. The 7 is Captain Cook, who is another one of these horses that we thought could be in the running for the Derby, but it just didn't happen because he ran 4th in the Wood Memorial after back-to-back wins coming in. And as you can see there, he was the morning line favorite, as well as the favorite at post time. And he had that run there after I don't know what happened in that first start, but he quickly moves over to Dutro, boom, wins the maiden, boom, wins the stakes race, and then goes to the Wood as the favorite and doesn't hit. Now, they were back-to-back 10s. Unfortunately, he did not improve. He went to a 12 in the Peter Pan, followed it up with an 11 in a race where you would expected better than that. Graded stake. It wasn't a graded stakes race either. So, look, he's got 4 to 6 in the money. Nothing great. Couple of wins. Never raced at Saratoga. The good part, okay, and I know I've set it all up maybe sounding bad, but the good part now is he has changed again. And the last time he changed trainers, we saw a good result. So back-to-back good results. That was his best two races in his career. Even though the second one was better because he had a 10. So now he goes to Pletcher. All right. So that's why you've got a horse that has clearly been disappointing. Gets a chance now as a big number long shot. And that's the reason why I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is also a horse that see, look, I've taken 2 sleeper and long shots out of here that, I mean, the best numbers we have are 9s out of Chancer McPatrick with Captain Cook. But I'm just looking at it as Captain Cook and Chancer McPatrick back in the Derby trial days were considered, hey, these horses, they're legit. Keep an eye on them. They're a Derby prep win away from being a top contender for the Derby. It just didn't work out. But again, the numbers are not terrible. The numbers are decent enough where things like a trainer change to Pletcher or for McPatrick I don't know, maybe a simple thing as a change to our Red Junior, or the fact that he's running at Saratoga and he's 3 for 3 on a fast track at Saratoga. There are things that I'm looking at to say, okay, I don't think I'm seeing the worst ideas in the world for a long shot sleeper trying to make money on my exotics. I don't think these are John Hardoon picks. I'll tell you that right now. And they're probably not even most of your picks. But these are just things that I'm going to point out to you, and whether or not you want to go with any of that, it's up to you. But look, the numbers are the numbers, and we have one more horse to go, by the way. And the best numbers so far are, matter of fact, the best number in the entire field is the 6, Smokin' Wicked, and he's done it twice. Okay. And now comes the final one. And speaking of disappointing, another horse that was supposed to be a big Derby contender, Matticat Road, Baffert Velasquez. And he gets the win. And Baffert throws him out there in a grade 3 race. He finishes second, breaks his maiden, and he's off and running. Grade 3 race, and the RB Lewis, 15. That's not all that great. Comes back in the Rebel, finishes a decent second, runs a 12. Maybe he's heading in the right direction. So he's now a decent contender in the Florida Derby. Doesn't get it done, but the numbers are now heading in the right direction, 15, 12, and 11. Unfortunately, and maybe that's what people saw in the Pat Day mile, was he's heading in the right direction. It's Baffert. This was maybe what they were looking for earlier. Now it's going to hit. No. Finishes second. The number goes the wrong way. Comes back at Saratoga at this distance for the first time a couple of months ago and finishes a strong second in that grade 1 race that Patch Adams won. And he was 11-1 at the time. So now he's coming off his best number. Okay, he's coming off a 10. The thing that you do have to point out, though, is that he's never won a race outside of maiden. So that, I think that matters. So he's 0-4. All right. So how many is he? Had 6 races. He's 0 for 6. But he has finished second 4 times. So isn't that what we're looking for? If we're looking for exotics and decent numbers and things of that nature? Yeah, it is. All right. So as far as that goes, let me knock this off, or let me put back the entries. Let's look for some picks, because I haven't even decided yet. I mean, I favored the 1, the 4, and the 7 initially. Okay. And I'm still going with the 1. I'm not going to do the 2. I'm not doing the 3. So, and I'm going to stick with the 4, but I need better odds, or I can't, those odds can't go lower than 5-1 with the 4. So if I can get 5-1 or better, I'm fine with the 4. I don't want the 5. I don't know what it is. I just think, I guess I do know what it is. It's just, even though he's got good numbers, he's never done anything bad, and he's won all 3 of his races. I don't know. I just don't think it's normal to see a horse just pop into grade 1 races and beat horses that have been in big races before. But it can be done. It's Cox, it's Pratt. They're all 7s. I just don't like the fact that it's 4-1, and I've got other possibilities that I can go with. That's all. And who knows? Maybe Verifier will end up 3-1. I don't know. I don't know what his number is going to be, but if I was getting 6-1, I'd be a little bit more receptive, but not at 4-1. Not for me. So I'll skip this 5. The 6, I don't know. I mean, July to August, it's not a lot of time. That's the thing. See, because if we look back at when he ran the 7 and then the 9 and the 6 on that 3-race win streak, he had short rest in between. I mean, good rest in between. Normal. Actually, let's look at this. November 2nd to December 14th. So he had 6 weeks. So that's fine. And he bounced anyway to a 9, but he still won. Okay. He comes back with a 6, which is nice, and he wins the race. Okay. but that was only on 2 weeks off. Now, he was on Lasix back then. I'm sure that had to help him, but there was only 2 weeks off. This time, he's got 3 weeks off, but he's got no Lasix. So that's the thing that I've got to be a little bit concerned with. I don't know. I just like the fact that he's 6-1 now. So I think look, I'm going to stick with Captain Cook and Pletcher because I gave you the reasons. So really, I've got the 1, I've got the 4, I've got the 7. Now I'm going to decide between the 8 and the 6 with Manicat Road and Smokin' Wicked because they're both 6-1. So I'll go ahead and take Smokin' Wicked. All right, because with Manicat Road, I don't see anything different. See, at least with the other horses that I'm going with, like I said, you get Pletcher, you got to change here, you got to change there. Something could trigger this. I don't see anything that's going to trigger or make anything different at a Manicat Road. So I'm not gonna go there. So that's what I'll do. So I'm going to go with 1, 4, 6, and 7. 1, 4, 6, 7. And I do think Patch Adams is the horse to beat, even though I don't think he's invincible. I don't, because again, if you look at it, he's been in 3 graded stakes races and he lost his first 2 grade 3s. So he just really, keeping in mind when he ran the 7, he had run the 7 already last year. But he runs the 7 and comes right back with a 7, doesn't bounce at all, comes right back with the 7 and wins a grade 1 after winning a claiming race with the 7. But the good thing is with Patch Adams, in my mind, more than anything, the reason why I'm going with him is the 7 is a 3-year-old. So he's got 3 7s, just like the 4-1 shot. Patch Adams, though, has got a grade 1 win. And so, yeah, so I'm just a little bit more into Patch Adams because of that. And I'm definitely not doing Patch Adams and Verifier. So I'm going to go 1, 4, 6, 7. So I'm going to take the 1 to win. And I'm going to go with 6. I get 6-1. I get 7. I got 12-1. And I think Chancer McPatrick's odds will be pretty decent at 5-1. So that's my thinking, is I'm going to be getting some decent odds on the other 3 horses with Patch Adams. And if I had to go in order, which ones I like the most, I would go with, let's see, who would I go with? Chancer McPatrick, or I probably go with Chancer McPatrick second. I'll probably do it exactly the way it looks. I'll go 1, 4, 6, 7. So anyway, so that's going to wrap it up. Don't forget on the show tonight, once again, it's going to be the Ballerina and then followed by the Forgo and the Travers. So that's what we're doing on tonight's show. You hit the join button. John Hardoon, the expert out of the 2 of us, of course, the expert handicapping, thoroughbred expert, will be on, of course, and that'll be at 7:00 Eastern right here. So check the join button, find out how you can join us, and we'll see everybody hopefully later tonight. And then as far as the rest of our schedule, just to let everybody know how it's going to go, because if you do join our membership and you get John's input for, let's say you put the $4 package, you get the month. So that means if you join this week, you get 3 grade 1s we're going to handicap on the show tonight. Then next week, we've got I'm guessing we're doing the Pacific Classic from Del Mar. I don't see any reason why we're not doing that one. Plus, there's 2 grade 2s at Del Mar, 2 grade 3s at Del Mar, a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3 at Saratoga. Now, there's also potentially this. John and I are going to discuss it tonight, and we'll let you know. If you don't join, we'll let you know next week. But and I'll put it in the message board as well. Obviously for members, but if it's for the general public, because you should be interested in it, I will put it out to everybody. What we're thinking of doing is coming right back next week after we record a live show on Thursday, coming right back either Friday or Saturday and doing a second show next week because of the fact that it's a holiday weekend, which is why you've got the Saratoga Grade 1 races on Sunday and Monday. So that would give John and I an opportunity to either do both of those Grade 1s or maybe take an extra race from Del Mar or Saratoga on Saturday's card, mix it with, say, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and do 2 races that way. The reason that's the part one of the reason we're thinking of doing that. The second part is 2 weeks later, there's nothing available. I believe there's just Woodbine races. It's a big day at Woodbine, and John does not do Woodbine. We don't do Woodbine. So we would much rather have a little bit of a, we'll switch it. All right. So we'll say we're going to do 2 shows next week, and then we're going to be off that week. So we'll let you know as soon as we know, but we'll definitely let you know no later than next Thursday when I come on the air, 2 weeks from now. Okay. Just so you know, you've got 3 graded stakes races at Del Mar, and there's also a Grade 1 at Del Mar on Sunday. But Kentucky Downs has a huge day, including a Grade 1. So looks like we might be doing a Kentucky Downs in a few weeks. And then the 4th week of any 4-week schedule that you would get if you join us, it is going to culminate the week of the 20th of September with Parks and the Pennsylvania Derby. So there will be 2 Grade 1s and 2 other graded stakes races. So there'll be a big day of Parks racing, and that'll be in 4 weeks. So that would close out the tier for the month if you pay for all 4 weeks here on Proline TV. So thanks for tuning in again. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all regarding the races, anything at all regarding the packages, just let us know. And enjoy yourselves. Have a great Saturday of racing. And hopefully we'll see you later on right here on Proline TV with John Hardoon. And either way, enjoy yourselves and good luck.